Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Friday in the Riv, the end of the week, going into the weekend, and
And we won't have rain until Monday.
we what?
We won't have rain until Monday.
Okay, we have rain. We're gonna have rain. Well, at least we're gonna have a decent weekend, anyways.
Exactly.
Apparently, so that's something to be happy about, and so I guess we can begin by talking a little bit about well, some news. I guess I didn't see it personally. I don't know if you did, but somebody said that hey Jim,
Hey,
uh,
Jimmy.
that Boomer has gone on record as saying that um, if we give out tips, they're going to have to give something back to Fall River.
I
Um,
agree. And you and I have been totally against tips and ties for years. We
yeah,
read the
oh, you're right.
reports.
And he's right, and he must have listened to a few of our shows. We talked
Yeah,
about the tips, getting all your rich friends, and Coogan giving all his rich friends, and all these people giving their rich friends tips that go into our tax base, and we don't get anything ever out. But
that's right.
remember, I don't know if you guys have been watching for a long time. Uh, uh, that we talked about what happened over in Johnston, Rhode Island. Remember when they got Amazon?
Oh, yes, I do. And everything they
And they
got.
got Amazon. We got Amazon, and we got the Barota.
That's
We
right.
got nothing.
Nothing at
We got
all.
we got nothing. We got a promise of maybe trying to get some jobs and blah, blah, and we got nothing out of the deal.
That's right.
What did Johnston, Rhode Island got? Fire trucks. They got grants. They got money.
New
They got
roads,
money.
new
I mean,
ambulances, new school equipment, new lights,
yeah,
new traffic
new,
signals. I can go on and on forever and ever, including
exactly,
a guarantee of jobs.
exactly. Uh,
And remember
and
who cut the deal for Fall River? Ken
Kenny
Fiola.
Fiola,
That's
Kenny
right.
Fiola, give it to my friends. Screw the
That's
city
it.
of Fall River like they're doing right now. And
That's
this
right.
is the issue. You look at this, and it wasn't only Johnston. They learned from who? Remember when they built Foxwood many years
That's
ago?
right. That's right.
Connecticut, they got that area of Connecticut. They got money for extra police, fire, all kinds of money because they were getting a deal. So you know, we were here a long time ago with that issue. And if we're going to give out a tip, and that tip, as I said, we're not big in favor of big tips, but if you're going to get a tip, get something for it. But again, this proves where their loyalties lie to the rich people, not to the taxpayer.
That's
Coogan
right.
is is an absolutely dismal failure. And to show you another little factor, I just, you know, you and I are like news freaks. I'm always scanning the news, local and national. But this is one that popped up today because today is the 17th, and it said updated at October 17th, 2025 at 12:47 p.m. Woonsocket police said four students were arrested for fighting at the high school on Friday morning. The students were charged with disorderly conduct. Friday's arrests come after 13 students were arrested and charged with disorderly conduct in September. All of them were suspended from school. Police then said there were as many as 5 different fights that broke out at the high school. But again, Warwick, Rhode Island, has a mayor and probably a superintendent that wants to have their schools being a learning environment, not chaos. We had videos of fights at Durfee High School. No one ever gets arrested. There were fights in front of, across the street that affected businesses, banks. There's a bank there. There's a CVS there. There's a Newport Creamery. I saw them being disorderly in Newport Creamery one day, knocking things over and everything else. They have to, now they have a fence on the sidewalk at Newport Creamery to keep them from escaping when they shoplift things. And I went into another store and everything was off the shelves. And I said, you know, what are you doing? He said, because we can't. I won't name the business because I didn't clear it with them, but it's on Ellsbury Street, and they have their refrigerator that they have ice cream in padlocked because they were stealing the ice cream out of the refrigerator. People at Durfee. And what does our superintendent do? Say we need a welcoming environment. A welcoming environment. No, we need our school to be a learning environment. You are allowing these students to learn that being antisocial and behaving antisocially is going to be ignored. And what happens? We have the chaos that we have in these blue states in the streets. People driving around for 2 hours in Boston in fall reverence of the, Healy's running for office again, and she's now talking about it won't be tolerated. But let me see him. Line him up. Warwick, these people are getting charged. They're getting arrested. They're getting arrested and charged for exactly what they were doing, disorderly conduct. It sends them a message. You're going to go to court. You're going to get something on a record, which could be expunged later on right now. But if you do something again, you've already started picking up a record. So you better get your act together. This just goes to show the absolute lack of any kind of leadership by the mayor and anybody else he's ever put into their positions, like the superintendent. That school is a disaster. We had videos of fights. We know there were sexual issues and all kinds of other allegations, and nothing is ever even talked about it. This is on Channel 10. They didn't hide it. They publicized it. Sending a message to these neophyte criminals that we're gonna lock you up. We're not gonna let you go to school and behave like this. We're gonna protect the learning environment for our students. And I know that Uma's talked about the TIFs now, and he talked about a forensic audit. I hope it's not too little too late, but now he's putting forth some stuff that shows that he's looking to really do something for the people of Fall River. So I said at the beginning he would have to do something or say something to earn my vote, and I'm going to say it today. For what I've seen the last couple of days and what he's talking about is geared toward the people. So, like I said, I always try to vote for somebody. He's got my vote. Period.
If he had done this at the outset, I think a lot of people would have had a different opinion of him. Okay, including myself. And I'll tell you now, I had a conversation today with an incumbent, and they still have questions that are unanswered, and they're not convinced of where Mr. Amaral stands.
Yeah. Well,
and again, as many people know, political promises are just that. They're promises. Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen. This incumbent turned around and said to me, his position on TIFs and ties has changed. because initially they weren't okay. Then they were okay with the benefit. Now they're not okay.
Listen, I have to interrupt you.
Yep.
Any incumbent that is worried about somebody changing their position, which is after you learn more, you can change your position. But anybody that is questioning a candidate running against Paul Coogan when they've been sitting in whatever office they were elected in and watching this imbecile destroy this city for 6 years, I don't give a shit if we had a mushroom running against him. I wouldn't be worried about what this. Yeah, this guy made promises, and so did Paul Coogan. A tax decrease. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to work to try to maintain the city and make it safe. No, you're not. Look at the school department. Look at Warwick. If one incumbent ever said that to me, I would go up their ass with a flashlight.
And I did ask a lot of questions when I was talking to them.
And I don't care who it is. They got to be better than this guy. And listen, everybody that hasn't been in office, you can either say, I'm going to take this person at his word, or say, I'm going to look for an excuse not to vote for him. He's now saying things that make sense. So I'm going to take him at his word. And if he doesn't keep his word, like Paul Coogan didn't, he's not going to get 6 years, or I'm not going to vote for him in 3 subsequent elections or 2 subsequent elections. I'm going to try to get his ass out of office after 1 term. Because that makes absolutely no sense for an incumbent who's been sitting there watching this city disintegrate to even go there. Right. And shame on that person.
I can understand that. Believe me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's time to do what they do in cities that care about the environment for the people, and especially your school system. We have
the biggest failing school system in the state.
Not only are they failing everybody, their learning environment, I think that contributes a lot to it. Durfee's like a war zone, and everybody knows it. It's like
we're educating them. We're educating them. We're contributing to the delinquency of minors.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And if anybody wants to look up that article, just go to channel 10 News. That's where I got it, right off my app. Channel 10 News. 4 arrested today, 13 arrested previously, last week or something like that, and they were all charged. People do not learn if there are no consequences for their actions. I'm sorry.
But that's the problem. We have no consequences. Whatsoever.
Well, hopefully, Gene, this time we'll get a few. But it's up to us to hold them accountable, too. I mean, we all get frustrated, and I say, but you know what we have to do? If we get a few other councilors in there in this election, and they don't comprise the majority, it's up to us. It's up to us to go to the council in mass. We got to start going down there, not 1 or 2 people. We got to go down there and get together and go down in mass and really get. And I just got a new one. Something just broke. I got to hit this one, CJ. 2 Fall River men charged with sexual assault of a New Hampshire teen.
Yes, I read that just a few moments ago.
Okay, this just came in over the wire. 2 Fall River men charged with sexual assaulting a New Hampshire teen in her home. Police said they received a call from a juvenile and blah, 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 blah. The police identified a man as 21-year-old Jose Riccardi and 20-year-old Abel Garion of Fall River. Investigators said both Riccardi and Garion, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing, I don't like to mispronounce names, but they're not common names. Sexually assaulted the juvenile prying, they're calling warrants were arrested for aggravated felonious assault and burglary. Noel was charged with aggravated felonious sexual assault. He said Noel has been arrested and extradited to New Hampshire. So again, Fall River is in the news.
We always are.
For not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. But this is the problem. Yeah. And we've got to begin now, Gene. The city's going to go down a toilet. I mean, if nobody shows up at the election, shame on them, and there's not a damn thing. But if we get a few new people in there and they're not getting help from the council, we've got to go down there and we've got to leverage the council. And listen, we've got to make these people pay attention. I can't stand it. I look around us at cities that are nowhere near as large as ours, and they're doing something about all these things. You see, like I said, listen, I'm not a big fan of arresting kids, but if they're antisocial, they're in a school environment. Our school system is in a toilet. We got one of the worst dropout rates in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We're at the bottom of everything in education, and you're not going to tell me that this environment doesn't contribute to this. It does. It's like a war zone up there. And we had videos of these fights. And have we ever heard a word from the school committee? Has the school committee ever demanded something? Let's get some of our school committee people to bring that article and stick it in front of the mayor's nose and his yo-yo heads over there, bobbleheads. This is outrageous. I mean, when businesses have got to lock up their goods, and that's what they've done. I mean, there was all kinds of thefts at CVS. I know that. I've talked to employees up there. Now they don't allow them to go in there with backpacks or anything. And when there's 2 or 3 of them walk in, they don't let them in after. They only let like a couple in at a time. And it's, then other businesses in that area the same way. The other business had to lock up their ice cream refrigerator. They were stealing ice cream. I mean, and nothing. Nobody hears about it. Coogan's in his office figuring out how to make his friends richer and give them more money. Yeah, well, he's been there about 175 years, Gene. He's been here since He's a
politic. He's one of many bloodsuckers.
Oh yeah, but I'm going to tell you.
Until this new sheriff came in, he was part of Tommy Hodgson's crew.
Yeah, and he worked for Hodgson too.
That's right.
He worked for Hodgson too.
He's never held a real job. I don't even think he's practicing as a real lawyer.
I don't know if he's practicing anymore, but I know at one time he said he practiced law, but most of the time, if you hired him, he never got anything done because he was doing all his other side jobs, like with Hodgson and the school department and everybody else. That's what all these guys do. They get these gigs, and he's been the attorney, and he's not the attorney for the school committee. He's the attorney for whoever's the mayor and who the powers to be are. And that's what he's always been. I mean, his opinions are not fashioned. They're like the Corporation Council, and that bothers me too, because I still don't agree with the fact that, if the Corporation Council is the mayor's lawyer, the mayor should pay him.
I agree.
We shouldn't be financing a law department for the mayor.
That's right.
That's supposed to be the city of Fall River's law department. And they are supposed to be bound by a canon of ethics that says that they rule on what law is, not their convoluted perspective of trying to cover the mayor's ass. Just like he admitted that the letter that he sent after the arbitration award was he didn't say, he said it was illegal. You can't do that. But what else did he say? He didn't come right out. He knew it was going out. I know that. And I know that Coogan didn't write it. It well exceeded his ability to write that. Believe me. I know that he probably had a hand in writing it. But they still tried to get away with it. That's why another thing we should do, we should eliminate the law department. You should have one lawyer or two lawyers in there to handle pothole claims. And you should farm out everything else anyway, because anytime we get a major case, we farm it out anyway. We've got an entire law department who has said what? Didn't the new lawyer basically say he was there to promote just one thing for the mayor? The new guy. What's his name?
Fredette.
Yeah, wasn't he there? And he talked about it was his job to get something done for Coogan. It's crazy. I mean, this is like Nut House. I'm trying to read it. Yeah. Yeah, he criticized it like they don't know what they're talking about. But our kids can't pass any kind of test that shows them in any way, shape, or form anywhere near their basic grade level.
Shit, if they're happy if they can tie their own shoes.
Well, Tommy Corey wants to sing to him. He wants to start a quartet with Curly and sing, "You're welcome here, and you can fight, you can steal, you can do everything, but nobody's ever going to know because we're going to cover for you because we know you're all little children and you're never going to grow up to be criminals, and we're going to protect our ass and cover everybody, Malone and everybody else." Because look at Corey is the most obsequious lackey I have ever seen in my life. Under obsequious lackey in the dictionary, there's no more definition. They removed it and put Corey's picture up there. That's how bad he is, in my opinion. And I have that constitutional right in the state of Massachusetts because he is an elected official.
And you're the only opinion that counts.
That's right. The only opinion that counts to me.
That's right.
So there you go. But this is crazy, you know? Yeah, Gene. Yeah, you're right. Did you put that one up? And Gene's.
I did the last one.
Yeah.
It
wasn't transparent. Of course. But he was part of that administration. Why didn't he get up there and be transparent? Because he wanted to keep his job. And the only reason he left that job was because he got in the shit for doing something that was illegal. So,
but remember, he said he didn't make any money on it. He had nothing to do with it.
We got the
His
paperwork.
name was only on the paperwork.
We saw the paperwork.
That filed it.
You know, the only reason he didn't make any money on it, it never got off the ground because
he got caught.
Because he got caught, and he couldn't make money. Wasn't he one of the people on the paperwork that we had?
Yep. And it didn't say attorney.
That's right. It didn't say attorney. And he said he was acting as an attorney. He made all kinds of bullshit stories. But believe me, he knows that if somebody really looked at this, they would find that he acted in violation of his sworn duty as an attorney and the canon of ethics that bind attorneys. He was trying to pull a fast one. And everybody knew it. And he didn't want anybody to dig down. So they do what they admittedly always do. Now just let him go and get another job. We don't want to interfere with him going over there and screwing up somebody else like he screwed the taxpayers of Fall River. Remember, he's the guy that said, and that's on video, he's the guy that said that you don't have to listen to the people of Fall River. Remember that one, CJ?
I remember that one. I remember the argument you got into with it.
You don't have to listen to those people that are at Citizens Input. Yes, you do. As I said the following week, and you went up there, and as I said, and then he had to admit that we were right. And I said, You are bound by the Constitution to be answerable to us. To be answerable to us, you have to listen to us and listen to our questions and listen to our comments. Constitution doesn't say you have to agree, and if you don't agree with enough of our opinions, hopefully that we throw you out of office. But the fact is that they have to listen, and then he had to grudgingly admit that that's true. Who is he to go up there as an attorney and say you do not have to abide by the Constitution? You don't have to answer the taxpayers who pay your salary, who you are sworn as a fiduciary to spend their money wisely, but you don't have to listen to them. You are in charge of them. That's what he implied. And then he also went on to say that he was there to convince them of things. No, you're not. He wasn't there to convince them. He's there as a city administrator to give them an accurate representation of every issue that the city is putting before the council. And the
Something
numbers,
that no city administrator has been able to do for the past couple of years.
a lot more than a couple.
Oh,
Well,
I
we
know.
know we got at least 6 under Coogan. There's never
Right.
been a city administrator that ever told the truth in front of the council, ever during the Coogan administration. And before that, it was shaky at best. The last city administrators that I can remember in my recollection that would go down there and actually give real factual numbers were, of course, Alan Sylvia always gave accurate numbers. He was insane for that. Bob Connors, Jim Smith, both of whom worked in other communities and had a lot of experience, and they had some integrity, and they weren't going to lie about stuff.
Unlike
After
Fall
that-
River.
After that we began from people who had experience to be a city administrator to a mall manager, and then we went downhill from there.
That's right.
So that's the whole problem that we have. I mean, but you look at these other communities, it's embarrassing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm embarrassed. People go Fall River. Like I said, you look at these headlines. It's like I looked at that today on my scan. I said, God, yeah. And every time you look at this thing, there's something about that. It's crazy. Warwick arresting and charging people. Good for them. And that was there. And like I said, it's not like you can't find it. It's on Channel 10. It's and I got my Channel 12 news app too. And this is you live around here. Try to educate yourself to see what's going on. See these other cities that are actually doing it right. And what does Johnston got? What does Johnston got for school? Oh, there's another one. The Swansea school staffer. Did you hear about that one?
Yes, I did.
She got kicked in
That's
the chest.
Meadow Ridge. That's a school. Meadow Ridge is a school for mentally unstable students.
Yep.
Okay. But I noticed they changed it from students to young adults. The DA is currently in the process of determining whether or not to charge this particular female student with homicide, and whether or not to charge this particular student as an adult. I think you may have a problem there, especially where they're committed to a program for psychiatrically affected students.
Yeah, you're right. But this is the kind of stuff, and look at this. I mean, and you're right. I mean, these people and these people that work with these students are very, very in a lot of danger all the time. And you can't give enough kudos to people who feel that they want to work with these.
I said to Michelle Dion today, I said, because we were talking about this case, I said, I did one day shadowing over at Meadow Ridge. And when I witnessed it there, I said, never again. And shortly after that, I took a job in the prison system, which was more secure. So that tells you something.
No, it is, and I know it's not only there. All these places that take these many of them are extremely aggressive. Actually,
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, guy I worked with on a fire department, whose daughter was worked not, I forgot which facility she worked in, but like that, and she brought them all over to his house uh, in the summer one time to have a pool party. And these kids, like you said, it's hard to charge them with anything because I mean, they've got to, they're not,
They're
they've
not
got
with the
an issue
program.
immediately.
Yeah.
Are they cognizant of what they're doing half the time? And they've got the plea. It's hard to say that, but at the pool party, a couple of them got into an argument or something. They got violent, and one of them broke his daughter's jaw. A male student punched her and broke her jaw. So it's like these people who want to work with these kids and bless them, because I'll tell you, it's extremely hazardous job.
It is. And they get
Because
paid buckets. And they get
yeah, and
paid buckets.
these kids are like, they can go from 0 to 60 in a millisecond. They're
That's right.
okay 1 second, then all of a sudden, bang. And a lot of the people involved in this are females, and some of the patients they're dealing with are pretty good size teenagers and near adults.
Yeah.
And
Like I said, they get paid buckets.
yeah, they do. They get paid. Really, they don't get paid that much. And
No, they get paid peanuts.
but like I said,
And
we
for
look
what
at
they get, and for what they're doing, they should be getting paid a hell of a lot more.
yeah, but I just got to check something.
Huh. It's just very interesting that happened. Hey, how many people got their ballot? They were mailed out on the 15th. I haven't gotten mine yet. Have you gotten yours?
Me? No.
Well, you don't
No.
get yours. You go to the polling place.
Yeah.
But
But I got some. So I got some on the last couple of years. I've gotten ballots when I didn't request one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the effectiveness of that new elections office.
Yeah.
With all those people.
Yeah.
Trying
I
to
just
keep
looked up
themselves
the
employed.
population of Johnston, Rhode Island.
Yep.
Their population is 29,568. So 29,000 people. They're less than 1/3 the size of Fall River, but they got about 100 times more from Amazon than we got.
That's right.
Because we got 0.
That's right.
They got everything because who was doing the deal? Oh, wait a minute, Kenny Fiola was doing the deal.
That's right.
And I can guarantee you, all his friends. Gene said he didn't get his ballot yet.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Yeah.
They must be sending it out by snail mail or something.
Either that, carrier pigeon.
Yeah, carrier pigeon would get it here already.
unless they got grabbed by a hawk.
By a hawk. That's right.
That's right. But
that's right. You're gonna find a whole bunch. You're gonna find a whole bunch of ballots over by the Quikasham Rail Trail by the hawk's nest.
Yeah. But that's
it'll make for an interesting time. As soon as you get your ballot, people, please mail it back. Don't waste any time. Takes 2 seconds to fill it out. Put it in an envelope. You don't even need to put a stamp on it. Just put it in the mail. That's why it costs us a fortune. All those ballots that don't get mailed back. And all the work that goes into mailing them out.
Yeah, I'm looking at Johnston. Yeah, total population 29 for something. Um, average household income's better than ours, 87,811. They only have 11,000 housing units. But like I said, when you look at these little towns, and Warwick is smaller than Fall River, although it's one of the biggest cities in Rhode Island. But Rhode Island doesn't have a lot of big cities. It's got Providence and Cranston and Warwick, about the only three kind of large cities in Rhode Island. But you look at what they did. Look at Providence. Providence had this problem that we have with these ATVs, cars, and everything else. What did Providence do? They started locking them up, taking the vehicles and impounding them and destroying them. And now you don't have that problem in Providence anymore. Yeah, no, you're right.
Hey, I got some information from
Okay.
the Johnston deal. Amazon is paying Johnston $7.2 million a year for 20 years instead of the facility's assessed value because of a tax stabilization agreement. Among the agreements with the town are bus stop for employees for a rerouted Route 28. Amazon agreed to give bus passes to employees who asked for them. What else did they get? Wow.
Yeah, wow. They got a lot. They got some for the fire department. I know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got fire apparatus, EMS equipment, new roads.
Yeah.
How come we didn't get any of that?
Now, we got Bupkis. Right. And
That's
look,
right.
Gene, you want to compare it? Well, Taunton's smaller than Fall River by quite a bit, actually.
Right.
But you're right. Taunton's always been much better. But they've also got a Republican mayor, too, I think. Who is conservative, who worries about tax rates, and Taunton's always been, and they've got a few Republicans on their city council. I actually know one of them. I actually know one of him. He's a club I was in, and he was from Taunton, and he's one of their. But they did, and look at where did Flanagan come from? He wasn't he in the law department in Taunton?
Who?
Flanagan.
Flanagan was an assistant corporate counsel in Taunton, and that's where Steve Torres came from.
And it came and he brought Tip Torres with him.
That's right.
But this is the thing. You look at these cities that are half our size, 1/3 our size, and they all got more common sense than we got because we have a totally ineffective, rudderless mayor who doesn't care about the people, lets these things go, and he's aided by a school committee that's totally
and a city council
too. But but the school committee, at least the city council, they're talking about an investigation of the veterans thing, but they do at least bring a few things to the public light. Maybe they don't do enough, and I'm not by any way, shape, or form saying they do enough because they don't. But the school department, the school committee, with the exception of Colin Byers and Kevin Aguirre, it's like we got North Korea, Russia, and China.
It's always something.
Yeah, Stevie's got to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we always say, Stevie. These debates are crazy because they want to throw a million questions at the candidates, but then they only have seconds to, they clear their throat, maybe have to kind of suppress a boofer, and then they get about 3.5 words out. Nobody can ever get into depth about their platforms, about how they're going to do things. And that's okay for people who are true politicians who can talk and answer a question and actually not answer it. Fatima
I gotta give Michelle Dion credit though. She called them out. Okay, she called them out, and I'll tell you now. She laid it out. She laid it out honestly to everybody. Okay, she laid it out about TIFs. She laid it out about Viva Fall River, which just before her, Andrew Raposo was saying, "Oh, Viva Fall River does a wonderful job. They did such a great job. It's a shame we're losing them. They did a great job. $750,000. They did shit. They have nothing done that was sustainable. Not one dime of ARPA money was spent on what would help the people of Fall River."
Yeah. All it is is a propaganda machine for Coogan and the cronies. And you're right, Fatima. She is the best, without a doubt. She is the best counselor. Since the day she walked into that council chamber, she has stood for what she believed in,
Right.
and she has fought for the people of Fall River. That's it. I mean, and this is the problem that we have. And you got to get all your friends out to vote for Michelle, because there was remember a few years ago there was a concentrated effort by Pat Casey and that crew to bounce her out of there. And
that's right.
If there was ever a counselor we need in those seats, Andrew Raposo turned out to be a total. Talk about, we were talking at the beginning of the show about promises made, promises not kept. Well, there's a guy. Yeah, that will be very interesting. But I have no. They're going to try to just.
No argument for me, Gene.
Might even be less than zero. Might be a negative.
I gave him every opportunity to represent the people. I called him. I spoke with him. I gave him advice. He took none of it. Okay? I got the great right there. Okay? And I'll tell you now, never get my vote. Never get my vote.
Yeah, no. And like I said, people should be rewarded for what they do. Promises made. Michelle has kept her word that she represented the people, and she does it, as well as any counselor I've ever seen. And that's saying something. I can, in my recollection, and that goes back a very, very long way. I can only remember.
You go back to the dinosaur.
Dinosaurs, yeah, they were riding dinosaurs, and it wasn't televised. They used to carve the minutes of the city council meeting in stone with a chisel.
Granite. I remember.
It was like the Ten Commandments, But and she does her homework, Fatima. That's the thing. Michelle always did her homework, and she always does her homework, and that's that's the way most people. I voted for him too the first time he ran, but that was it. Yeah, well, the lawsuit. Fatima wants to talk about the lawsuit, but there's not much to talk about. We all know what the allegations are right now, and they're damning, and we can't really talk about the specifics of the case, but we can talk about is what that case indicates, what the allegations are. This is going to bring out a lot of information about why they covered it up, and why, and how did we get here? See, that's the important question. How did we get here? And Fatima, you're something.
You're too funny, Fatima.
Yeah, I get funny. But listen, we got here because Coogan in 6 years has done absolutely nothing except take care of his friends and give his friends jobs and make his friends rich. And this is how we got here. They've covered up Malone. Now, how long ago was Malone? Now we got this lawsuit that says, all this stuff has happened and we've never heard a word. Remember, Coogan, before he got in office, said he was going to run on transparency. Nothing's been done for 6 years. We got here because of lack of leadership, no accountability, and total, actually, not just inaction by our school committee and council, but actually being derelict in their duty. Yeah, well, I think that he unfortunately has been thrown into the lion's den. He if he was coming in with a new mayor, a new council, and everything was changing around, and you could be up to speed. But now he's got a 6 year incumbent that's really disliked by a lot of people.
Let's not make excuses. I've called Ricky.
Well, I'm not making it. Let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead.
Let me finish my sentence.
Yeah.
It's easy for the average person to be a little overwhelmed, and by nature, I'm not stereotyping, but it's a fact. He's just like people made fun of Carlos Caesar. He's not that fluent. He's got to bring himself up to speed, and he was stuck in at the end of a term. So there's a reason why that you can see that maybe he's not up to speed. And anybody, unless they was somebody that was like us, that lives this every single day, goes back 20 years. The guy's a businessman. He doesn't know, he ran for office figuring out he could do OJT, probably the biggest mistake of his life. Does he look like he doesn't know what he's doing? Yes, he does, because probably he doesn't. And that's the problem. You don't have it's a very difficult learning curve. And this is the problem with counselors. Counselors get in and they don't do their homework. They don't do their homework, okay?
No question about it.
I sent them the letter that I sent Coogan. CJ sent them thousands of different informational freaking emails. And I can guarantee you that they're never read. With the exception of maybe Michelle. So when a counselor gets in and he's in his first term, let him start out with a few other new counselors and see how good they are. Maybe if they're lawyers or something like that, they can try to bullshit people. But the reality is that I understand, but he doesn't know. But then if you're in there for a while and you don't know, I can't excuse these people.
Here's my position.
I sent them stuff. And they talk like they were clueless about how we got here.
And here's my position. With Ricky Teeth, here's my position. Okay? I had several conversations with him. Told him, do not vote with the masses. Look at the information. If you have a question, call me, call Chip. We'll be more than happy to give you some guidance. We're not going to tell you how to vote, but we'll give you some guidance. He never did that. Yeah. When it came time for election cycle, I told him, you are not running for re-election. You've never been elected. You were appointed.
Yes.
You cannot put on the sign candidate for re-election. What was the first thing he did? He put candidate for re-election. He figured it's going to give him a bump.
Yeah, well, the fact
but they would have put it on the ballot.
Well,
okay, the man votes for however Andrew Raposo votes. Very rarely does he take an opposing view. He votes with the masses. We don't need another bobblehead.
Well,
Chip's running out of disk space.
Look, what we need to do is the people to pay attention. You talked to Ricky Teeth. I did too. I met with him. I gave him a copy of the letter I sent Coogan. I explained to him why we were in the problems we were in. I said, call me anytime, and he hasn't called me either. But hey, it is what it is. We've got counselors that have been sitting in that chair for 20 years that know as little as he does.
That's right.
They can talk a good game and bullshit a good game because they've learned over a couple of terms how to be a good politician. That's the difference. You got people that, say a lot. Well, how many counselors have one of CJ's favorites can talk 2 hours and make all kinds of sense and be right on target, then he votes the opposite way. But he's still there. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that was just like the fire union. They came out with their endorsements this week.
Okay.
Where is that? Oh, here it is. Secretary. Here's who they endorsed. Please forgive me as I make nasty comments. Okay. Sean Kadeem. I can bear that one. Michael Canuel. Okay. Michelle Dion. Definitely a good choice. Paul Hart. Brad Kilby. Chris Michael Peckham. Okay. Cliff Ponte. Okay. Andrew Raposo. Ricky Teeth. I don't know if the union thinks they have to endorse 9 people. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I'm not sure. But some of those selections for endorsement were definitely wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Especially Paul Hart.
Paul Hart and Brad Kilby.
Paul Hart and Brad Kilby, arguably, well, not arguably, I would say in my opinion, because it's my opinion, they are the 2 worst city councilors in the history of the city of Fall River.
No question.
I mean, they are the biggest ass kisses I have ever seen. They have never taken a position that was pro taxpayer. I have watched Kilby vote to spend money on a baseball field when the city was broke and said, the kids.
Right.
Screw the kids. I hate to say it, but that baseball field is now under the new Durfee.
That's right.
The fact is the taxpayers needed a break. The parents of those kids that you want to put AstroTurf on for, they had a baseball field. They used it let them use it.
That's right.
Pele learned to be a soccer player on a homemade field, and he became the greatest player in the world. The field doesn't make the players.
That's right.
Okay?
Hey,
so number one, he bought it for $1 million in those days to put it on that shit because he hit him with his bullshit. The kids. Well, the parents are going to have enough money to feed their kids before they send them to school.
That's right.
Play baseball.
Did you notice who they left off that endorsement list? Joe Camara and Linda Pereira. Linda Pereira.
He just made a clone.
Joe Camara, not on the list. Imagine that, the president and the vice president. Bah!
Well, and I just put that one up, but Nelson, I don't know if you put it up, but I don't know. I didn't hear.
I heard that rumor from a very reliable source because the city is supposedly going back to civil service.
Yeah, I'll believe that.
Supposedly, she doesn't believe she would get the position because her contract was only for 1 year. So,
well, she's got enough time to retire on superannuation. So,
right, but she wouldn't have the 3 years extra high pay.
Well, she won't get 3, but she get 1 year.
Right. She
gets 1 year factored into your high 3. So it's your high. I mean, even if you worked like in a position like now, if Kilby until Kilby gets his job in a housing authority for 6 figures, his pension will be crap. But they will not look at his salary as a city councilor. They will go back and look at his salary when he was a school teacher was probably even then a little bit more than his city council salary.
Right.
So he would get it's your high years no matter when they occurred within your service.
Right.
So if you took a lower paying job just to get your time in, you're going to go back. They're going to go back and look at the time. But well, Gene said, he offered Ricky. Well, like I said, he was offered by guys and people who know in good faith And I would have told him, you would have told him, CJ would have told him, and we made that offer in good faith, and I think we'd make that offer to anybody on the council.
We
I don't
do.
care. And if you want to listen to what we got to say, and most of the time, if not 100% of the time, when we're talking, we've got proof of what we say that it's correct. So, uh, but this is the problem. We've got counselors that have been in those seats uh, for decades, over a decade, some for decades. Never read anything we send them, never pay attention. You go there, you make citizens input, they just stare blankly at you and like this, let him get out of here. And after he goes, we'll have four other people and they'll forget about what he said and nobody gives a damn and we'll just cover it. You'll just go on to the next thing because they're allowed to do that by the voters of Fall River. Let's place the blame directly where it belongs. The voters of this city do not come out. So everybody get all your friends, make sure they go out and support people like Michelle Dion, like Colin Diaz, like Kevin Aguirre, and then pick people who are making you promises that you feel are in line with what you think we should be doing in Fall River and that they're going to put you as a priority, not the rich and nauseous. And
See, that's the one thing that always bothers me about these forums that they had run by Beer Can College is that they ask them what they plan to do, but they don't ask them how they plan to accomplish it. Yeah. When you're one vote out of 9, they don't say, well, you're one vote out of 9. How do you plan on getting the other 4 votes you need or 5 votes you need? They don't go that far.
They can't. And they won't. They don't want to.
They don't want to because they don't want you to explain what you plan to do or how you plan to do it.
Yeah. It was like, did you see that excerpt of the debate, the questioning by a reporter of Mondami about how he was going to finance his socialist agenda? And then the reporter then asked him when he said something about taxing he said, well, remember what Margaret Thatcher, who was the Prime Minister of Britain, said at one time about socialism. They said, socialism only works until you run out of other people's money.
That's right.
And that's what's going to happen in New York because all the millionaires that he's going to tax are going to move out of New York.
That's right.
They're all going to bail because they're millionaires. They can go anywhere they want. That's why socialism doesn't work because Margaret Thatcher had it right. Socialism.
And that's why they're leaving Massachusetts. That's why they're leaving Massachusetts. Because if you make over $1 million a year, you get a 4% surtax. So.
Yes, I know, David. You're going to a Boomer event. You said it a few times already.
Yeah, he said it a few times. He's not, David, you're not getting the message. We don't care about political events. That's why we don't acknowledge them. We understand you want to do it. We understand you may even cover it. That's not our position.
People can read your comment.
That's right.
And like I said, then because if we did that, we would have to be
doing it for everybody.
We would have to tell everybody where everybody's event is.
Exactly.
I mean, people have they can promote their own events, but let's put the blame where everything's going. Let's hope that everybody goes out and votes. Let's hope that they surprise the bejesus out of us this time, and let's have a big turnout. And I didn't see Annalise on today, so
I haven't seen her on either.
Yeah, because I was going to remember to say ciao to her because she always says ciao to us at the.
Well, let's see how Maura Healey does without the money.
Yeah, well, they want to keep financing all their programs geared not at the taxpayer, but it's hurting. It's just crazy. But hey, get out and vote, everybody. We're getting close.
Yeah. And as Annalise would say, ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.
Thanks for
See
watching. And
you on
remember,
Monday.
stay
Yep.
safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. It's going to be a beautiful weekend this weekend in the 60s. No rain. Enjoy it while you can because Monday it's going to rain. Have a great weekend.